Good evening and welcome to Eastvale Crime Watch and Reporting Page Show. It feels like it's been a long time since we've met because we were off last week for Halloween. I hope all of you had an amazing time at Halloween and your kids had a great time out trick-or-treating. I know on our cul-de-sac we had literally hundreds of kids coming down the street, and it's so great to see them live in such a vibrant community as well, where families feel safe to out and trick-or-treat and to visit with one another. We're blessed to live in such a great community. Well, we have a really good show in store for you tonight. It's hard to believe this is our 6th show since we did this, and we've had some pretty amazing numbers. The biggest numbers that we've had is for our person from Mosquito and Vector Control, and he was over 3,000 people have watched his video. I guess we know about pests. Right behind him is Motor Mark, who we're going to have on tonight. He's over 2,000 views, and right there with Motor Mark is myself, Todd, and Brandon on the show when we talked about Neighborhood Watch. And so we feel really good. I feel sorry to say that the Fire Department show is our lowest viewed show, but that's okay. We're going to bring the fire department back around when they get into a little bit of a slower season, and we'll be able to talk to them. We did have some great viewership during Fire Prevention Week as we gave away a lot of fire extinguishers and things like that. But we have a lot to get to tonight before we move on. And we are sad to report the death of Detective John Burkes with the Ontario Police Department. He was unfortunately killed in an off-duty traffic accident. And if you've been on the crime page recently, you will notice that a GoFundMe page has been started. These are never easy times, and families never like to have to come to the community to ask for help. But at certain times when it's a completely unexpected death, there are costs and expenses that occasionally occur. And Detective Burkes served the community of Ontario faithfully. And you know, as you look at that GoFundMe page, I ask you to, number one, pray for the family, that that they can find comfort through this. Number two, any positive comments that you can even write on the crime page that they can come back and read at some point, that would be greatly appreciated. And then if you are so blessed and feel led, any type of donation to the family to help with the unexpected costs would be greatly appreciated. I know it's not easy to come forward and ask for things like that, but I believe as a crime page we support law enforcement, and anytime we can step up and help a brother or sister that wears blue, some way to help their family cope with a death such as this, we need to do that as a community. Ontario's right next door, and they provide RSO so much useful backup and mutual aid at different times that they're just like one of us. We're one big community. I know that recently we were just rocked with scandal at Corona-Norco Unified School District with the arrest of a Assistant Superintendent, Ted Rossi. If you've looked at our crime page, you will see that there's a Press Enterprise article, and just recently posted was a mutual press release between the Corona-Norco Unified School District and the Riverside County DA's office. They addressed many of the questions that you may have. Mr. Rossi has been charged with over 24 felonies of everywhere from money laundering to embezzlement to signing false documents, and basically the embezzlements are over $1 point something million. So it's a great deal of money. It's great to hear the DA's office saying that the school district is working diligently with law enforcement and the DA's office to ensure that all prosecution is met and everything that they can do to bring this gentleman to justice if he actually did these crimes. So this is America. We are innocent until proven guilty, but with 24 felony arrests, that's quite a few. It looks like the DA has a lot of their ducks in a row. So if you look on the page, we'll have information there. We're never going to speculate about what took place or what didn't take place. So you can read exactly what we get, either from the DA's office or from other sources that are credible. We will post there. And rude comments directed towards staff or teachers will be deleted from the page. And this isn't the place for that. You can write genuine concerns and we will support those, but you need to know this injustice that took place does not affect the hard-working men and women who take care of our kids every day of the week in those classrooms. Our classroom teachers, our classroom nurses, our principals, assistant principals, the aides, librarians, the clerks, the receptionists, they work extremely hard, and they do this despite situations that they have at every school. You can just imagine by reading some of the comments that you see on social media that some of these people they actually have to deal with. So this has no reflection on our classroom teachers and our site administrators. They work hard every day to ensure that your child gets the best possible education so that they will be the future leaders of tomorrow. And chance you get, please thank them for what they do in the classroom. We believe that's really, really important. With that, we're going to move into the next thing. Next Tuesday is the Eastvale Town Hall meeting. And we give some major kudos to Andrea Hovey. She has put this together and has been one of the speakers of the Town Hall meeting since we became a city. And this is a very good opportunity for you to be able to come and hear from law enforcement, to hear from the city, to hear from animal control, to hear from the school district, to hear from JCSD. While you can hear things here on our show and ask questions, there's no time restraints or anything, and they give a brief 2-minute overview of projects or something that's going on within those organizations. But this is the last one of these that we are going to be. Because Andrea Hovey, we are happy to announce right here is going to be joining the Neighborhood Watch team. She's always been a captain, but we are bringing her in the fold with Mayor Rigby and Councilman Plott and myself. And Andrea Hovey is going to join our team. So there's going to be 4 of us now spearheading Neighborhood Watch, and we couldn't be more honored than to work with this lady. She is the ultimate professional. She knows the city of Eastvale. She loves the city of Eastvale. She's been a Neighborhood Watch captain. And any of you who have ever been to any of the Neighborhood Watch programs know Andrea's dedication to our community and our city. So if you can turn out 6:30 this coming Tuesday at Rosa Park Elementary, thank Andrea for everything that she's done. Get a chance to hear from all the different organizations that make up our city. And you get a good opportunity to get more information. We try to have some of those individuals here on Eastvale Crime Watch so that you can ask and questions of it. Here's a chance to see them in person without the time constraints. And it's always a great opportunity to also visit with some of your neighbors. But welcome, Andrea. Todd and Brandon and I are just tickled pink to have you as part of the Neighborhood Watch team. And it's perfect that she's joining the team, because in the coming weeks we are going to be rolling out Neighborhood Watch 2.0 to the community. I know we've talked a lot about it. You've heard 2.0 coming up. We've shared with the captains some about it, and we're just finally formalizing the program. Our Neighborhood Watch program, as Sheriff Chad Bianco has said, is one of the top in the nation. They haven't done anything like this before, where every zone is covered. Every zone has a Neighborhood Watch page on Facebook. They all tie into the main crime page here, and we have been instrumental in solving a number of crimes and helping law enforcement along the way. Andrea's help is going to really help us kick 2.0 off. And I'll give you a little sneak under the tent. This right here has something to do with Neighborhood Watch 2.0. No, we're not going to make you all dispatchers so that you can drive RSO crazy. But this is something that we've started, and some of our captains have already started to go through the educational process to receive their amateur radio license, also known as ham radio. And you'll be learning more about that, as well as CERT, and that we're going to become a completely sufficient community in the event of an emergency, where we are going to be able to help our neighbors if something comes up. Also, just remind you, we are now quickly approaching Thanksgiving, and Christmas is right around the corner. A lot of you are going to be doing shopping at the local malls and places like that. We just want to remind you that when you shop, if you put something out to the car, lock it in your trunk. If you're going to leave it on the seat, cover it up. I know there's a promotion going out from law enforcement. It's called Lock It, Hide It. And we really want to emphasize that, want to eliminate every opportunity for thieves. If you're watching tonight, we would really like to see your comments. If you want to put it in, thank you very much. Someone put in their concerns for the loss of Detective Burkes. I know Ontario PD greatly appreciates that. But we just ask you to try not to become a victim and make it hard for the criminals at that. An upcoming show, one of the things I want to let you know about, that we're going to be trying, I told you we're going to have Dr. Lynn eventually come on the show here to discuss the school district, and that is a show that will be coming here in the near future. So we are excited about that. We also are planning on having JCSD on our show to answer some questions for you, and I think you guys will really enjoy what we have coming. But one other person we're going to ask to come on the show is Ike Bootsma. Ike Bootsma has been around here since it was cow country. Before any of us ever wandered into a place called Eastvale, back when it wasn't even called Eastvale, Ike Bootsma was here. And we're going to spend some time talking to him, answering questions about what he's seen grow. And that's another person like Andrea Hovey who's just so dedicated to this community that I think it would be a privilege to be able to interview him and give you the opportunity to ask Ike some questions about what he's seen change in the Eastvale over his entire time here. He's a pretty amazing guy, and I think you need to get to know, because like Andrea, he has a servant's heart, and he has really given a ton to our community. The next we're going to is 60 Seconds to Survive. This is our quick snap where we give you a tip on how you can survive just an accident, a disaster, something like that. And sometimes we show you a little tool, and this is the tool we're showing you today. And you're like, hey, what is that little thing? This can be mounted in your car in the glove box. And if you happen to get in a car accident, I know we don't have a lot of lakes here, but let's say your car stalled train tracks because of Metrolink or something. You could put this off, and just like this, there is a pointed edge here, and if you hit your window right at the right spot, this will shut the entire window so that you are able to get out of your car. And sometimes when electricity goes off in a car, your seat belts might come stuck. Right here on the other edge is a razor blade that will slice through your seat to help you get out of your vehicle. We've all heard the song about Johnny Angel. And that fateful night, the car got stuck on the train tracks, and he couldn't get her out of the safety belt. Well, if she would have had one of these, Johnny would have. It would have been a different song. And so anyway, these are available on Amazon. They are very cheap. They're $3. It's a great thing to have in every one of your cars, and it could prevent a tragedy. I know a lot of law enforcement now are starting to carry those in their vehicles also, so that they're able to access vehicles. Remember, if you'd like to leave us a comment, please do that below. If you'd like to let me know who the comment is, if you hit that eCam Live link, we will be able to know who is actually leaving the comment. But tonight, one of the biggest things that we hear about all the time on the crime page is traffic, about the drivers here in Eastvale. And traffic has to be a pretty important topic, because last time we had Motor Mark on, you know the counts. We were over 2,000 people watched the video, and that was talking about general traffic. But tonight, we're going to be a little bit more on our scope. We'll take questions. Motor Mark's going to take questions from all of you. But tonight, we are going to be talking about driving around school zones, and that all-important question that many of you have, wanting to drive around school buses. Motor Mark, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, great to have you on the show. How have you been?
I've been good. I just got done going on a nice motorcycle ride today, so I'm relaxing now.
Very good. And how was your Halloween?
Halloween was good. There was a lot of children around here. We gave out a lot of candy, and it was a very pleasant night.
So in your experience as a traffic officer and everything, what's your thoughts around school zones and everything like that? How do you think parents drive in those areas?
Terrible. There's a whole bunch of emotions going on. I mean, they want to get their kids to school on time. They're rushing. They're frustrated with other people. They don't want to wait in line. Just all kinds of stuff that goes on that just it diverts your attention away from driving the car and getting your children there safe and making sure the other kids that are walking around or walking to school are getting there safe as well.
So what would you say is the biggest violation around a school zone?
Speed, and school bus violations, but generally speed. I mean, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour in a speed zone, and I wrote thousands of tickets for people coming through there 43, 44, 50 miles per hour. They just don't slow down.
Okay.
So,
Can you help our viewers kind of understand exactly when does that 25 mile an hour speed limit kick in? Does it kick in at 8 in the morning when there's no kids there, or when exactly is that enforced?
well, generally speaking, when you have a school zone, you're going to have, before you enter the school zone, in either direction that you're driving, you're going to see signs that are clearly marked that you're entering a school zone. And school zones are in effect when there are children present. And so, you as a motorist, you can't differentiate between some kid who's with his mother walking down the street that doesn't go to school. So if there's children present, then the school zone is in effect, especially if the school is in session.
So with year-round school around here, you just can't assume, and it wouldn't be, if you pulled me over and I told you, hey officer, it's July, the kids are supposed to be off. No excuse.
Gone are those days.
None of those days. I'm still getting the ticket, right?
You're going to get a ticket. Yeah. You really.
Hey, so one of the things, Mark, that we're hearing a lot of is about the school buses and people zooming by and everything like that. And you provided me with 4 great pictures that I'm going to put up here now for our audience to see. And are you able to see those, Mark?
I am.
You want to talk a little bit about each one of them and tell the audience which picture you're looking at and what our responsibilities are as a motorist?
Okay, well, nowadays, back in the old days, the school buses just had 2 red blinking lights on the back of it, and that served as a stop sign. And that holds true if you come to an intersection and you see a red blinking light, that's a stop sign. Or an intersection that has a traffic control signal, but the lights are blinking red, it now becomes a stop sign. The same holds true for the buses, but now all the buses now have an extended arm that pops out from the side of the bus, and it has a stop sign on it. So not only do you have lights telling you to stop, but you also have a regulatory sign telling you that you have to stop. And so, it gets a bit confusing when people stop and they don't know when they are supposed to stop. And if you're not sure, it's always best to stop just to err on the side of caution. But looking at the photo up in the top left corner where it says no median, 2 lanes in each direction, you have a bus stop there. The red light, or the little red dot, indicates that the lights are flashing and the stop sign is extended. So everybody in both directions has to come to a stop until that sign retracts back and the lights stop blinking. Moving over to the right, where there's the green median in the middle, at the upper right portion of the screen, you'll see that there's the school bus there, the red dots, and 2 cars behind it in either lane. Both those cars have to stop. But when you have that divider there, the cars in the opposing lanes of traffic that are going in the opposite direction, they don't have to come to a stop. But it's always safe just to slow your speed down a little bit, because you never know if a kid's going to run across. And so, but you're not required to stop. And then moving down to the lower left portion of the screen, you'll see that there's 2 lanes in each direction with a center left turn only lane. And so in that photo there, everything has to come to a stop. Even the cars that are going to make a left-hand turn, they have to come to a stop, because keep in mind that in a left-hand turn lane, you are allowed to drive in that lane up to 200 feet to make your turn. And so that's the reason why they want everybody stopping there. And then in the other, the lower right, you'll see the 4 lanes with no median, Everybody on the other side has to stop, and the other vehicles do not have to stop. So it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's a good idea for people to just take a look at these photos and kind of familiarize themselves with it. And again, if you ever are in question as to whether you should stop or not, just stop. And, if people honk their horns behind you, well, they'll get over it when the lights turn off.
That is great advice. Unfortunately, I'm thinking, the people that are here watching this tonight are probably the ones that are always stopping. But we did get a question here for you, and the question is it legal to block the public street to drop off and pick up their children?
What are you referring to blocking the public street? Are you talking about stopping along the right curb, waiting to pull into a driveway of the school?
So viewer that typed this in, if you can clarify that a little bit better for Mark, that would be great. Basically all they wrote here was, is it legal to block the public street to drop off? I'm assuming that they're just cruising down the street and they just stopped to have their kids hop out.
Okay, well, I'll paint you a little picture here. I think it's Rosa Parks that's over here on Harrison.
Mm-hmm. I think so, yes.
In between Schleichman and 65th Street.
Yes.
And so, every day there's vehicles that are stopped along the right curb in the number 2 lane or the slow lane, waiting to turn into the school. And it's okay to do that.
Okay.
Back in my days, I used to walk to school. My parents had dropped me off. And nowadays, parents are, taking their kids to school, dropping them off, and there's really no place for all of those cars to park in a parking lot. So
you're right. The days of when you and I went to school, walking or riding our bikes are pretty much long gone. The majority. So this person, I think, added to their question. They just added in a school zone, is it legal to park in the middle of the street to drop off your kids?
Well, there's a difference between stopping, parking, or what they call standing, and parking. If you're going to park your car and walk away from it, and there's no signs there that say you can't park your car there, then you're okay. But if you're waiting in your car for traffic to move forward so that you can get to the point where the pickup location is, then again you're not considered parking. You're considered standing, and you can do that. It's an inconvenience. It really is.
So this person asks, can they block all traffic? Let's see here. Can they block all traffic in a school zone?
Again, I'd have to know, what are they referring to? All lanes being blocked? It's kind of hard to try to paint a picture of what they mean.
Okay.
I mean, if you have an open roadway, you have to keep on going down the roadway. But if you're along the side of the curb and you're stopped waiting to pull into a parking lot, then you're okay. But you can't just stop in the number 1 lane waiting for your kid to cut across the street to get in your car.
I think that's what they're really talking about from reading the comments, that we have a number of people that just are cruising along and, hey, it's time to drop Billy off, or they see Billy and they stop right there, and Billy J walks and gets to the car. And
technically speaking, that would be considered impeding the normal flow of traffic, and you could be cited for that.
Okay.
But again, where's a cop when you need one? I mean, with all these schools that we have in Eastvale, and even if we had every officer assigned to a school, they just can't be everywhere at once. And so that's why we have to exercise some patience and.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm seeing. I think that's what they're talking about, because as you know, we're driving by some schools, every lane is blocked. If you go down by Scholar Way, Eleanor Roosevelt, or any of the schools down there, they're stopping in the number 1 lane. They're stopping in the number 2 lane.
They can't do that. Yeah, they can't do that. And if there's a motor officer there, and time permitting, they can affect the traffic stop. They're certainly within their right to issue citation for impeding the flow of traffic.
So how many, I've seen this before where a motor officer will be pointing at people to pull over. How many can they get in a queue?
You mean
to queue up?
To write a ticket?
Yeah.
To write a ticket?
Yeah.
Well, I think I did as many as 11
Oh my word.
in one, in one. But as many as you can pull in. But it was a slow day. I didn't have a whole lot to do, and I felt like writing a lot of tickets.
Okay.
So I
And
was able to pull 11 cars into one drive in one parking lot and just go one by one and write them some tickets.
okay. Do you know, is technology there now where they can scan the driver's license and print out the ticket, or are you still scratching those things out on a three-way copy? Knock on wood, I
Oh
haven't
no,
had any
I mean,
visit me.
yeah, I think some agencies. There's still some agencies that are probably handwriting their citations,
Okay.
and but I think they're moving. Most of the courts are moving in the direction where they want the electronic ticket because it's easier and it processes quicker, and it minimizes the chance for error.
Right.
Um, but the thing with the electronic ticket writing, the information is only as good as the person who's updating their driver's license information when they're supposed to. So if they moved and they didn't notify DMV, well, then the ticket's going to go to the wrong address.
Right.
And then they get a citation. They get another violation written on there for failing to notify DMV of an address change within 10 days.
Okay.
So,
Wow. Okay, so it can really add up quick. Viewers, we really appreciate your comments coming in. Please continue to like the view or put down any comments, and I will make sure I get Motor Mark to answer them if possible. I know one of the things, Mark, that we read a lot about this last week that has created some stir is parents who are pulling into people's driveways to drop off their kids or to back out, or just basically parking in their driveway to wait for their kids. Is there a law against that, or is that just common courtesy?
well, I suppose if you wanted to really push the issue, you could call for an officer to come out and warn them regarding trespassing. They can't block a driveway. They can't encroach into your property, which anything inside your property line on the other side of the sidewalk is your property. The sidewalk and everything outwards is public property. But they're
Right.
not allowed to block. It's just rude that
Right.
they even do that. And, the nerve of some people, imagine that. I would probably go out there and have some intense fellowship with someone if they were parking in my driveway trying to pick their kid up, with the
Right.
understanding that, hey, they're there to pick their kid up. At least they're a good parent and they're doing that. But, let's
Right.
just extend some courtesy.
Yeah, I know a lot of parents are concerned, or not parents, but community members. They have some very pristine driveways, and they drive straight in. So, but I know when you start to maneuver in a driveway, it does leave tire marks, and some people are particular about how their driveways look.
Yeah.
With that being said, we've heard sometimes advice. Everybody's a Google lawyer that will just block the person, then call the police if they're blocking your driveway. What's the ramifications if somebody blocks you in?
Okay,
Let's use this as an example. Fred parks in a handicap stall, gets out, he's running in to get a six-pack of beverages or something like that. The person says, hey, this person doesn't have a handicap placard. I'm going to park behind them until police get there.
you can't make this stuff up.
No, I don't. Yeah, this happens.
Yeah.
We read this on the page.
Well, you have to look at certain things. Number one, the person that's blocking the other person in, you can't arrest a person because it's an infraction.
Right.
And blocking them and impeding their ability to move about and leave, one could consider that a form of false detention.
Okay.
And the best thing to do in a situation like that, if you feel inclined to do so, which I don't recommend anybody do it because you just don't know who you're dealing with.
Right.
Is take a photo of the car, the license plate, and take a photo of the person that's getting in the car. And
Right.
if law enforcement has an opportunity to go do a follow up on it, perhaps they can go out there and just let the person know, hey, look, you were seen getting into, or parking in a handicap stall, and let me just remind you how much the fine is, and but it's not worth getting into an altercation which can escalate into something much more than a traffic violation. It's
Right.
just not worth it. It's rude on the other person's part, and I appreciate the fact that people want to go that far out. But nowadays you just don't know who you're dealing with. You could be dealing with a complete nut job that has a weapon or something, and it's just not safe to do so.
Right. So here's another thing that we see a lot of, and is it just basic self gratification, or is there any good of this that we see all these people that are taking pictures of license plates of cars that have sped down the street or through the red light, and they post a copy of their dash cam online? Is that just making them feel good, or do you feel there's actual some benefit to that?
Well, again, it's a traffic violation, and they in themselves cannot take any action on an infraction.
Right.
Now, if a person is driving extremely recklessly when the wanton disregard for public safety while operating a motor vehicle, and they are a witness to that, that would be considered a misdemeanor,
Right.
and they could make a citizen's arrest if they were to follow that person to wherever that car lands, and providing police get there in time to make contact with that person. And if you have video that shows that, that would basically substantiate your reason for the arrest. But again, I mean, nowadays you just don't know who you're dealing with.
Right. You could be dealing with a psycho.
You
So.
can't. I mean, I see it all the time. As a motorcyclist, I'm hyper vigilant to that stuff because I don't want to get hurt and
Right.
killed on my bike. And so, but it's out there. It happens. We're living in a world now where people are in a hurry to get nowhere fast.
Right. Well, Mark, you answered a lot of questions tonight about traffic safety around schools. I can't thank you enough. I think we're on our way to probably another great video with the number of hits that you are going to receive and people viewing your video. I know that we have a lot of comments throughout the week as far as they're extremely happy that we have you on. So, do you have any closing that you want to add?
Yeah, I do. I know at the forefront of the video, the segment here, uh, the marquee for Detective Burkes indicated that his name was John, and I just wanted to remind everybody that his name is actually Josh Burkes, and or Joshua. We called him Josh. And Josh was a really great officer. I had the opportunity of watching his career progress over 22 years, and he was just a natural police officer. Every once in a while, we come across a natural that you can just tell that this guy, he has it together. And Josh was certainly one of those officers. He was a great officer, great corporal, excellent detective, and an excellent homicide investigator. And he's going to be sorely missed. So I can speak on behalf of the Ontario Police Department when I say that the family, the Burkes family, certainly appreciates all the well wishes and the prayers that are being extended, as well as the Ontario Police Department. And we appreciate everything that the City of Eastvale is doing, especially this Facebook page in honoring Josh's legacy there at OPD.
Thank you very much, Mark. And I know that it's really sad, and I can't even begin to imagine the hole that it's left in the hearts of your brothers and sisters that work over at OPD. So, well, thank you again for being on the show tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And Mark will be back again. Wait, yeah, a couple others commenting here. They're sorry for your loss of Josh, your brother.
Thank you.
Heartbreaking. So an outpouring of support. Just to remind you too, there is a GoFundMe page if you feel so inclined to help the family. Also, just please write the positive comments and thoughts and your prayers for the family. I know that would be greatly appreciated also. So Mark, we will talk to you next time on the show, and we will see what the hot topics are as we look across the crime page over the next 2 weeks, and we will have Mark back to discuss those traffic options. We might talk different types of radar or something like that. But next week on the show, we have a deputy who's been in Eastvale for a long time coming on, and that's Deputy Deanna. And Deputy Myers has been an integral part in our city. She has played a number of roles. She was one of the first deputies to spearhead and watch when we were just becoming a city and helping in that area. And she's been just a street deputy and also a school resource officer. So she really knows our community well. And they have her now in a pretty amazing position that is really going to affect the future of our city, our county, and many other counties throughout our state. She is the volunteer coordinator for the Riverside Sheriff's Office, the Harupa Station. And that is that important. She is tasked with the Explorer program. And what exactly is the Explorer program? The Explorer program is a program to help young men and women, I will call them young men and women, who are high school age, that are interested in law enforcement, really start to get a better understanding of what a career in law enforcement would be like. And she helps facilitate some amazing training. I have talked to some of the individuals who are in her Explorer post, and some of the things that they get to do are pretty amazing. So if you have a son, a daughter who is interested in a potential career in law enforcement, and it's not just in the street. I mean, helicopter pilots, nurses, forensics, divers, anything you can possibly imagine at a bigger agency like RSO or LAPD, they have positions like that available where your child can get into that if they have an interest. And she is really going to be able to tell them how to make the best use of their time going through high school, going through college and everything to have this career. So next week at 7:30, we're going to have Myers on. She's talking about the Explorer program. You'll ask her about other volunteering opportunities with Riverside, and she is just going to be a wealth of information. And I think you are going to want to attend and bring your high school age student to tune in with you. And even if you have a junior hire, bring them to watch the show or let them watch it on replay. She's going to be able to answer questions also during that entire time. So tune in next week if you know any young people who are interested in law enforcement or who might be interested in firefighter. Tune in. You listen to Deputy Myers, and they are going to get some really great experience and get some great information from her. But anyway, that concludes this episode of Eastvale Crime Watch and Reporting Show. On behalf of myself, Mike Gayton, G. Goot, David Ruggio, and Eric Martin, the administrators at the Eastvale Crime Watch and Reporting page, we greatly appreciate you making us over 9,000 members strong. We're closing in on 10,000. It's because of you able to help RSO in so many different areas. Be safe, and we will see you next Thursday night at 7.